Hey, Inspired Tribe, my fellow freedom lovers. It's John Nolan here. Thank you so much for tuning in. It is Wednesday, May 7th, 2025. Out of the matrix into prime reality. That is the mantra. But you remember the old one? We're healthy, we're wealthy, we're whole, we're free. I hope you didn't forget about that one. Just as important. Thank you for joining us on X, Rumble, and YouTube. This was spontaneous today. We had a different show planned, and we might do it another day because I think the subject matter is important. But this felt more present. If you're having a challenging day, if today you feel like it's hard, you might be facing a problem, something that's been there for a while, something that's new. This is for you today. First off, I think um, a lot of people feel alone at times and feel like they have no one to share this with or to talk about stuff. And so we hope that in this forum, you at least feel seen and heard. But really, if there is a secret, if you will, that we have learned and that I have learned over the years is that what we face on the surface, what we can see and what the problem looks like, is usually a mirage. It's a disguise. And if we react in a programmed way, the way that we were taught to react, then that mirage, that disguise does its job, and it throws us off track, and it makes us go into lower states of being. And so over the years, just like all of you, we have faced plenty of challenges, some of which looked really, really problematic, and some of which put us in a very, very difficult position. And so we've experienced what it is like to not have a roof over our heads. We've experienced great challenges from external forces, if you will, threats, all of the above, and to this day, challenges come into our lives. So when people look at others, teachers, authors, people in the public arena, they often think that they have found the secret to never experience challenges again, and that's just not true. But the secret is in how you react to them. And one of the first things that I do when something comes into my life that I didn't expect and that looks like a big problem on the surface is I first take a few very deep breaths. That's really important because your body reacts, your gut reacts. You get this weird feeling, there's this panicky feeling coming on, and your hormones start to do a thing. If you give yourself over to that, you and your ability to be creative, your ability to think creatively, even your logic and reasoning go out the window. And you're basically going into fight or flight mode. In that scenario, you only have those two options, fight or flight. And oftentimes they're not the appropriate reactions. So taking a few deep breaths anchors you, centers you. And then it's really important to remember who you are at the core, because you're not your body, you're not your mind, you're not your name, you're not this identity in this life, in this realm. You are spirit. You are a form of consciousness that is only temporarily attached to this body and this world. If you think about that in a moment of crisis or challenge, you're already having a broader perspective. You already realize that whatever panic or fear has come up most likely isn't warranted. Now, I'll say this: if you're in immediate danger, someone is threatening you, of course, there are these situations where fight or flight is very appropriate. I'm talking about the other challenges that we face in relationships or financial or in our jobs, or, an accident that we didn't expect, stuff like that. The stuff that almost everyone experiences. Now, once you breathe and center yourself in your spirit, you're in a completely different space. You're in a space where creation happens. And Now I want to get to the real secret. Most people, when they face a challenge, simply wish to solve the problem. Okay. So they want a solution to the problem that presents itself. Over the years, I've learned that that is only part of the process. The bigger part is, how can you turn this situation that looks like a big challenge into an opportunity for you? And this is what real creatorship really is. This is what separates the wheat from the chaff. This is what makes some people always come out on top. And I'm not talking about financial success necessarily, but they always come out better from a situation that was challenging than they were before. And that is when you realize that if you approach life from spirit, everything that comes your way is an opportunity for betterment. Now, you say, but I got a notice that I have to move out here in 3 weeks, or I lost my job, which is my income. I understand that. I've been in all of those situations. What they do, and this is a good thing, they pull you out of your everyday rut of thinking. They pull you out of your routines. They pull you out of your comfort zone. And if you can embrace those moments as opportunities, you step into your creative thinking. And then you might come up with things that are much, much better than your situation was before, or you find solutions that will improve your situation. One of the things that we did many years ago is that we decided that everything that comes into our experience is for our highest and best interest, and the highest and best interest of all. And I'll give you a few examples. When we started Inspired, we frankly had no earthly idea how this would expand and in what time span. It was truly given to us as a divine inspiration, and we followed that. Now, after a period of time, people joined the journey, started watching, and we started growing. One morning, I don't know how many months in, 6, 8 months in, we woke up and, meditated in the morning, did our morning thing, and then went online to see how things were doing on our channel. To find that our channel was completely gone. We couldn't find it. We couldn't find no trace of it. It was erased basically from history. Imagine 6, 8 months of work, building an audience and having wonderful exchanges and all that, and all of a sudden the entire thing is gone. In that moment, the first time that I experienced this, I froze. I froze because it was as if someone had pulled the rug from underneath me. Imagine, nothing is there anymore. Now, after like 2, 3 hours, we decided to do what we really know how to do best. Is we stepped into spirit, we stepped into creatorship. And from that moment, we decided that this experience was going to lead us into something much greater and better. We made that decision. No evidence of that in the world, but we made that decision knowing we're creators, knowing that we have a lot of control over our little reality bubble, not the collective, but our bubble. So we decided that the outcome of this situation was going to be something even better and greater than it was before. What we were aiming for is to get our channel back, which we were told by people with similar experiences is likely impossible. I didn't care. We felt it. And so we went through the process with YouTube, and we went through the communication channels. We found creative ways that others hadn't found before. And sure enough, 3, 4 weeks later, we had our channel back fully intact with all the videos and all the subscribers. And because of this experience, we had started expanding our horizons, setting up new platforms, creating our own website. But more importantly, we had started opening our minds to much broader possibilities. So as soon as the channel got reinstated, better, greater, more wonderful collaborations, opportunities, people, interview partners came our way. I can't say that I know exactly why, other than that was the intention that we had, and that was what we knew had to happen. And so we decided in that moment, this is how it's going to be. If a challenge comes our way, it's really an opportunity that is disguised as a challenge. And in this world, this is part of the program. This world runs on programs that are supposed to get people that live in a more unconscious way into lower realms of being. So basically, every now and then, something will come into your life that will give you an opportunity to either go into fear or despair, or you will choose to see it as an opportunity to level up. And this is why, in, let's say, business history, okay, let's just use business. Not all business is bad. There's great businesses out there. When crisis hits, people react in two ways: either contract and conserve. They go into a mode where they try to spend as little as possible, do as little as possible, just weather the storm. And then there are those who choose to expand and find means to expand through crisis. The second group is almost always the one that does better through the crisis and actually uses it as an opportunity. So we have to really remember, whether we're witnessing tough things in the world or whether we're facing tough things in our lives, that we are incredible creator beings, and that there is a part of us that is not physical. It's not bound to the rules of this reality. It isn't bound to this heavy body or the logic and reasoning. It has access to unlimited creativity. And when we allow for that part to be in charge, we can create tremendous shifts. And your stories, your emails, your comments, the things that you've shared with us over the years prove that beyond the shadow of a doubt. We know many of you have faced tremendous challenges and have turned it into some of the greatest things of your life. But that is a choice. And it is also stepping beyond a threshold. So in the consciousness work and our most recent interview with Clayton Stedman, consciousness researcher, he mentioned that there's a threshold on the consciousness scale, and that is 200. It's 0 to 1,000, 0 being the lowest form of consciousness, 1,000 the highest. 200, integrity and courage, that's sort of the realm. Once we pass that, especially courage, the courage to think and see things in a new way, once we go beyond that, we step into a new realm. We step into new opportunity. And never was it more important than now. This is a time of great transformation, and we can either see ourselves as victims of it, or we can see ourselves as creators through it. I'm not saying that we have the power to change the entire world or the collective. We influence it. We can influence it very positively. We have that power. But it would go too far to say that we can alter the decisions of other people or override them, but we can compensate. And that's a different concept. So the better we become through everything that we do, the more positive our impact is on everything around us. And that is really a wonderful, wonderful thing to know and remember. Um, in our most personal decisions and situations, nothing to me is more important than remember that we are much, much more than what we see in the mirror. And that the smallest part of us is the body and the mind. The smallest part of us is in this physical reality. The biggest part of us is connected to all that is. And if today is a tough day, and if you can remember that, if you can feel that, if you can take 30 deep breaths and breathe into that spirit, into that higher part of you, I can promise you that you will see whatever you're facing in a different light. And I can promise you that you can access new layers of thinking and solutions that you didn't see before. But it is a choice. And the best news is you don't need me. You don't need anyone else to get there. You don't need to wait for somebody else to make that choice. And you really are that powerful. And if you remember that, there is no telling how quick, how fast, how beautiful your situation can change. Maybe not overnight, but maybe in a matter of days and weeks. New opportunities will come your way, new thoughts, new ideas. And then really the secret is to listen to that. Your life might be in a place where that challenge is what you needed. That is exactly what you've been creating. And that challenge is your pathway to transformation. And I truly believe that. I've lived through it often enough, and it's still happening in my life. Um, I think this is how it's set up, really. And this might be how we grow the most. And if this was a moment you felt like you don't have the strength to make it through, you do. On on a level that we might not quite understand in this human realm, I know you. I know you. You know me, and I know you, and I know you do have the strength. I know you do remember who you really are. And I know that whatever you're facing today, you have the ability, the strength, the skills, the creativity to not just make it through, to not just survive, but to turn it into a wonderful opportunity for you to expand. And, last but not least, Christine and I have, since the very inception of this work with Inspired, always envisioned our audience as living their best possible lives. Through all the challenges in the world and the big upheavals and changes, we always envision you all as living your best possible life and thriving on all levels and expanding, raising your consciousness. That's just something that we naturally intend and that we keep in our hearts. And if you needed to hear it today, we're rooting for you. We're in your corner. We love you. And we know whatever you're facing, you're more than equipped to thrive through this, to do whatever is necessary. You got this. You truly do. And when you come out on the other side of this, you'll be better for it, much better. And your life will be too. I truly believe that. All right, my friends. Um, if you, by the way, and I want to make one thing clear. This is not a sales pitch. We're just extending an invitation. If you need a little bit of a support system and you haven't done it yet, I encourage you to give FLFE a trial. It's completely free of charge for those 15 days. You won't be asked for a credit card, but it will support you in your creativity, in your thinking, in your peace of mind. It will be just a wonderful support system. And if those 15 days is what it ends up being, 15 days can make all the difference. Clear the energy, help you in your meditations, help you in your solutions. That's wonderful. Take advantage of it. highconsciousnessfield.com. Just click to start my free trial. No strings attached. No one's going to pressure you, push you, ask for your credit card. It's just a gift from FLFE to you that maintains a high consciousness field for you. I would take advantage of it. I truly would. And we are. Yeah, and it isn't a magic bullet. It's not there to solve your problems. It's a wonderful support system that allows you to stay in higher spirits and access greater creativity, and better sleep. All right, my friends. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for being with us. And believe me when I say this, we love you. We appreciate you. And we will be back with you again very, very soon.
Your environment shapes everything, your thoughts, your health, your energy, but most people never question the invisible field they live in. We did, and that's when FLFE found us. It's not a product, it's a field of pure life force energy that lifts everything it touches. We now live in it 24/7, and we would love to invite you to experience it too. Start your free 15-day trial now. No pressure, no strings attached. Just the truth, resonance, and peace.